Lynn Cinder is an extraordinary young woman who lived a mostly ordinary existence. She lived in Europe until 120 TE, when she was badly injured in a hovercar crash at the age of 11. Surgical professionals were forced to implant several cybernetic components to ensure her survival. According to experts, any substantial bionic modifications necessitate continuous emotional support from family members. Cinder, on the other hand, had no family. At least, none that anyone knew of. Lin Guerin, a scientist and inventor, took her to New Beijing, where she resided for 5 years with his wife, her legal guardian, Audrey, and her adopted sisters, Peony and Pearl. We're here with Lynn Cinder and her supporters to record her journey from a lost adolescent to a global superpower. Cinder, how was it growing up in New Beijing?
The thing you have to know about New Beijing is that it's this interesting mix of tradition and modernity. That's what makes it unique amongst the millions of other cities in the Eastern Commonwealth. Granted, Old Beijing was destroyed in the Fourth World War, but the Third-Era reconstructions of those ancient buildings are equally as beautiful as the Second-Era originals I've seen on Netlinks. The gorgeous, ornate structures are only inches away from glass skyscrapers that are thousands of feet tall, mostly covered by ads for makeup or dish soap, whatever's popular at the time. The entire city is an endless maze of pitched roofs, net screens, and electrical wires with no rhyme or reason to the streets. But somehow, the chaos is what makes New Beijing so beautiful.
We are also here with Emperor Kaito of the Eastern Commonwealth, who has resided in New Beijing for most of his life. What was life like for you growing up, Your Majesty?
Please, just call me Kai. I grew up in the palace. I guess I didn't need to say that. It's kind of obvious with the whole emperor thing. But anyway, I always knew that I was privileged to be the prince of the Eastern Commonwealth. I didn't have many responsibilities because my mother and father always took care of the political side of things. Even when my mother died of the plague, my father and his advisor, Contorin, made sure that the weight of my responsibilities wasn't too heavy. I had time to learn more about the world outside the palace walls, and time to go to the market and get my android repaired by the best mechanic in New Beijing. Cinder.
I became skilled at fixing my cyborg parts at a young age. It's not like Audrey, my guardian, would have let me pay someone else to repair them, and mechanics came naturally to me. I repaired an android for the first time when I was 11. It was my guardian's servant android, whom my adopted sisters called Aiko. I thought repairing her would make them like me. It didn't, but they bought me a stall at the Central Area Market. It was the best gift they could have given me, aside from a one-way ticket to Europe. I had an excuse to get out of the house, hang out with Aiko, listen to newscasts on my retina display, and do what I love. Well, and meet Prince Kaito.
Retina display? What parts of you are cybernetic?
So, as you can probably see, I have a cybernetic hand that cuts off at the wrist, and a cybernetic leg that goes out to my knee. Audrey wouldn't let me buy new parts as I grew, so my limbs were uncomfortably small. I also have a control panel in my brain connected to my whole nervous system, including my optical nerves. That control panel, along with some tech put into my eye, creates my retina display, which is also connected to my auditory nerves. I know this sounds like a bunch of technobabble, but essentially it allows me to look things up on the net by thinking about them, sometimes even unconsciously. It also warns me if I get too stressed or overwhelmed.
Perfect. So, where does your story start?
Well, the day my life really changed was August 15th, 126. I was just working on Nguyen Shifu's escort droid in my stall at the market, listening to some news feeds, doing some additional movements.
Welcome to New Beijing News. Cyborg hate crimes have doubled in the past week, with some reports saying cyborgs have been physically assaulted with their cybernetic limbs found in the landfill. No statement has been made on these attacks. Letumosis numbers have skyrocketed to the highest since the plague began in 114 TE, possibly due to the festivities surrounding the upcoming annual Peace Ball. We have heard rumors that the cyborg draft may become more frequent if the numbers keep rising. But the Emperor, his advisor Contorin, and Prince Kaito have not made a statement. Now we have a statement from Dr. Dimitri Erland on what to do if you or a family member contracts the plague.
Come on, Cinder. You can do this. Ugh, how hard could it be to take my own stupid foot off?
Limb has been successfully disconnected.
Ugh. Thank God.
Ring around the rosy, pocket full of rosy, as you all down.
Ring Around the Rosie wasn't quite the right song to be singing in the middle of a 20-year-long plague, but I appreciated the distraction, and the entertaining way the kids blocked the path of everyone trying to get through the market. Chang Sasha, the baker stationed across the square, rushed over to her son once he got within a few feet of my stand.
Sunto, don't stand so close to the cyborg stand.
I was playing.
I don't care. You need to keep far away from that girl's booth and stay with me at the bakery.
But I don't wanna.
Now!
It's not like wires are contagious. Not many people knew I was a cyborg. It was easy to hide my leg in cargo pants and stuff my hand into work gloves. My guardian, sisters, and a couple of people at the market, like Chang Sasha, knew, but otherwise I blended in fairly well. Gloves on, music on, time to work.
Hello? Is anyone here?
Crap!
Hello?
I quickly swiveled my chair to my work desk, completely hiding my lack of a foot from the person who entered my shop. To them, I was a normal 16-year-old mechanic.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize anyone was back here.
I recognized this customer immediately, even without the help of my retina display. Who else could have had the same sought-after blend of shiny black hair, soulful brown eyes, and full lips that nearly every girl in the Commonwealth, including my sister, has fantasized about? It was obviously
Prince Kaito of the Eastern Commonwealth, ID number 0084.
Your Highness.
Shh, shh, shh. No one knows I'm here. And I'd like to keep it that way.
Right, of course. How could I... are you...
I'm looking for Lynn Cinder. Is he here?
Yeah. Actually, I'm Lynn Cinder. I know you probably thought I was going to be an old man. It's fine. I get it all the time, but never mind. How can I help?
I can't get my android to turn on.
Well, let's crack her open. Why aren't the Royal Mechanics trying to fix her?
They tried during her monthly checkup, but couldn't figure it out. One of them said you're the best mechanic in New Beijing, so I figured...
Oh, did they? You know, this android is really old. Maybe it's time to get a new model?
Unfortunately, I can't. She contains top secret information. It's a matter of national security that I'd retrieve it before anyone else. Just kidding. Nancy has been around since I was a kid. It's sentimental.
For some reason, the surgeons worked a lie detector into my retina display. Whenever I heard that little chime and the orange light appeared, I knew someone wasn't telling me the truth. I was never really curious about what someone was lying about until meeting Kai. National security. That's funny. Let's take a look inside its cranium. She looks almost 20 years old. That's pretty ancient, but she's in pristine condition.
Yeah, we take good care of her at the palace. Replace her parts when needed, stuff like that.
Oh, speaking of parts, where did my android go? Just on cue, I heard a familiar squeak of worn-out treads as a 2-foot-tall white blur sped past me.
Cinder! It's Aiko! I've got your new foot! It's way better than the old one, and the wiring looks like a match. Plus, here's the kicker. I was able to get the dealer down to just 600 univs.
Thanks! Nguyen Shifu will be so excited to have a replacement foot for his escort droid.
I thought this was for...
Shh! Please, not right.
Oh my god. Is that Prince Kai? That's Prince Kai! Cinder, Prince Kai is at our booth!
Which is where he's been for the past 5 minutes.
Why didn't you send me a comm? I would have come right over if I knew he was here. Hi, Kai. Can I call you Kai? I'm Aiko. I'm like your biggest fan.
Aiko, please.
Wow. I've never seen a personality like that in an android. They're normally so stoic. Did you program her?
Believe it or not, she was like this when we got her. My stepmother got her really cheap, so I think she's got a programming error.
I do not have a programming error.
So, what do you think is going on with Nancy?
I'll need to run her diagnostics. It'll probably take a couple of weeks.
I don't suppose there's any hope of having her done before the Peace Ball.
That should be fine, but I really can't guarantee anything.
That's okay. Just send a comm to the palace when she's ready. Or I can stop by next weekend if you'll be here.
Of course we will. We're here every market day. You should come here again. I think both of us would love to see you.
You don't need to come back here. I'd be happy to take Nancy to the palace myself.
Coming here gives me an excuse to get out of the palace. Shoot. I wish I could stay and chat, but I'd better get going. My advisor's probably tearing the palace apart trying to find me. See you soon, Lin Mei.
And then he just walked away, somehow never hounded by crazed fangirls.
Prince Kai! Check my fan. I think I'm overheating. Oh my god. Can you imagine Peony's face when she hears about this?
I can hear the squealing now. Now, help me put this foot on before any other royalty stops by.
Limb connection detected.
Fits like a glove, doesn't it?
It's perfect, Aiko. I just hope Audrey doesn't notice. She'd kill me if she knew I spent 600 units on a foot.
What was that?
It sounds like it came from Chang Sasha's stand. I didn't know what was happening until I looked across the square at the bakery. Despite being pretty far from her stand, I could still see the spot-like bruises on her skin. A telltale sign of the second stage of leishmaniasis, the blue fever. I had always heard of it being a disease that happened in the countryside. Sure, there had been scares here in the city, but none of them were close to me. Oh no.
Sasha has the plague.
Cinder, let's get out of...
Can't! You'll get trampled. We'll just need to wait it out. We're far enough away, I think. No one knew how fast leishmaniasis spread. How close you had to be for someone to catch it. I didn't even know if the plague researchers were sure about anything, besides the name of the disease. All we were sure of were the 4 stages, each resulting in death. And then there were the medroids, androids that specialized in trying to contain the spread of leishmaniasis, ready to take Sasha to the quarantines. Everyone who contracted the disease was sent there to live out the rest of their very shortened lives. People always donated blankets and food, but I doubted it was enough.
Is that... smoke?
They're burning her booth.
Does that help get rid of the plague?
I don't know. But we should go home now while the medroids are distracted. I can't be bothered with a trip to the quarantines today. I had always seen my street for what it was. A jungle of apartment buildings with knots of wires and clotheslines hanging overhead. But after my encounter with the prince, I noticed the glimmers of the palace's gold roof between the buildings. The domes of the temples peeking above the apartments. I knew the prince. He didn't know me as a cyborg, but as a fully human person. Unfortunately, all that excitement immediately disappeared once I arrived home, where my sisters, Peony and Pearl, were having their dress fittings for the royal family's peace ball, with Audrey barking commands at the dressmaker like she was a dog.
For Pearl, let's take the waist in a bit more. We want her to look like an eligible bachelorette, not a frumpy child. I expect results from this gown. You also need to lower the neckline for Peony. She looks like a prude.
Cinder, look at my dress.
You look like a princess, Peony.
Ah, Cinder. You're home early.
Yeah, there was an outbreak at the market. I'm fine, though. Chang Sasha was across the square. I'll just go get cleaned up, and then I'll be ready for my dress fitting.
Does she actually think she can go with us?
Have you replaced the mag belt on the hover yet, Cinder? None of us will be going to the ball unless it gets fixed, will we?
I need money to buy a new mag belt. If my income from the market weren't deposited directly into your account, I would have bought one by now.
Well, I can't afford both a mag belt and a new dress. You'll have to find another way to fix the hover or find your own gown for the ball.
Mom, why don't we sell that heap of scrap metal Cinder calls an android while we're at it?
Cinder?
It wouldn't be worth the trouble. Her parts would barely cover half a mag belt.
Look, I don't care how you fix the hover, just do it. And cheaply.
Okay. As for the ball...
As long as you dress appropriately and fix the hover, you may go with us.
Do you seriously think someone will want to court me with her hanging around us? She's going to ruin the night. I can't believe you would even...
Wait! I see Prince Kai on the net screen.
Volume on.
Letumosis research continues to be our top priority. Our team is determined to find a vaccine for this disease that has now taken my mother and threatens to take my father, as well as tens of thousands of our citizens. We can no longer claim this disease is relegated to the poor rural communities of our country. Only if we stop it can we begin to rebuild our economy and return the Eastern Commonwealth to its once prosperous state. My advisor, Contorin, will now present
Prince Kaiser.
His report on...
Your Highness.
Yes, Torin.
There's an update on your father's condition.
Pardon the interruption. As I attend to this matter, the top Letumosis research doctor, Dimitri Erland, will...
We interrupt His Imperial Highness's press conference with an update on the status of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Rikan. The Emperor's physician has just informed us that His Majesty has entered into the 3rd stage of letumosis.
Oh no!
Volunteers are still urgently needed for antidote testing, even as the daily cyborg draft continues. Prince Kaito has previously told the press that he hopes this month's peace ball might bring some joy in this otherwise tragic time. Long live the Emperor.
I know a cyborg who could volunteer for plague testing. Why wait for the draft?
That was mean, Pearl. Cinder has every right to be here.
She also has every right to be volunteered for plague testing. Hey, maybe she could go to the ball in a casket. That would sure make a statement.
Shut up!
Mom! Peony told me to shut up.
Come on, Aiko. Let's head to my workshop. We've got an android to fix.
You're going to the ball! Okay. So first, we need to figure out what kind of dress you'll wear. You don't strike me as a ball gown type. What about a mermaid silhouette? You're so tall. I bet it'll look gorgeous.
Could you bring that light over here? I can barely see what tools are inside this drawer.
And then, what were you thinking about doing, fabric-wise? I think silk would be perfect. You'd reflect the candlelight when you're dancing with Kai. Wait, oh my god.
What?
What if you and Kai kissed at the ball? It'd be so romantic. Everyone would clap and...
Aiko, I'm not going to the ball.
I don't compute.
There are so many other, more important things I could be spending my money on. A complete set of wrenches, a toolbox with drawers that don't stick, a down payment on my own apartment where I won't have to be Audrey's servant anymore. Where is that floor jack?
Right next to you.
Oh, right.
You're being unreasonable. We could always find a dress for you at the market. You know I'm a good haggler. I could go by Zhao Yan's stand and...
You know Audrey lied about the ball, right?
Huh? How do you... Oh, lie detector. Right.
Even if I fix the hover, she'll come up with something else I need to repair. She's never going to stop making a list of things that I need to do.
You shouldn't have to accept it, though.
What other choice do I have for now? It's not like I can just run away without you. You and Peony are my friends. I care about you guys, and if I left by myself, I probably would never see either of you again. I don't want that.
Ugh.
Peony?
Mom is going on one of her rants again.
Which one?
Pearl, I have invested in your education, appearance, and etiquette. The least you could do is at least try to find a suitor.
And not one of those common boys from your school. Perhaps a doctor or a lawyer. Haven't heard that one in a while. Let me guess, you came down here to hide?
Yep. Oh, and to ask if you could look at my port screen.
Yeah, of course. You know, you looked amazing in that dress.
She should have made one for you, too.
I don't really want to go anyway. You know what? I'll work on your port screen tomorrow. Aiko and I are off to find a mag belt for Audrey at the junkyard.
Really? Can I come?
Yeah! There are gonna be dirt, and bugs, and rats, and...
I don't care. Anything's better than going back into that stuffy apartment. Plus, it sounds like an adventure.
A dirty and stinky adventure.
Fine, Peony. Go get ready.
Okay, so what exactly are we looking for? A nag melt?
It's called a mag belt.
Right. That. What does it look like?
Just keep your eyes peeled for anything that looks like a shiny loop.
Shiny loop. Got it.
Peony, guess who Cinder met at the market today?
Were they famous?
Heck yeah. I can't wait for you to guess. It's Prince Kai.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He stopped by and wanted my help with his android.
You should have seen him, Peony. His hair was all swoopy and shiny. And his eyes.
And you didn't send me a comm?
You would have had to show up in an unfinished ball gown.
I wouldn't have cared. I would have come even if I was dressed in a trash bag. That was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Cinder. But wait, he'll have to pick up his android eventually, right?
I guess.
Since the market is closed because of the outbreak, guess what that means? We get to go to the palace! And you're gonna wear your cutest cargo pants, and the prince will be all like, hey, and you'll be like, hi, and then you'll hand him the android in the sexiest way possible, and then he'll ask you out to the ball!
Okay.
And then you'll dance and piss off Pearl. Oops, don't tell Mom I said piss. Anyway, you'll make her really, really angry. Then the prince will kiss you and ask you to marry him, and you'll accept. You, me, and Ika will live in the palace and wear pretty dresses every day, and...
Before you pass out from talking too fast, I wanted to show you and Aiko something special.
Is it Kai?
No.
Is it a puppy?
No.
Is it a...
You know I'm not going to tell you, right? Ta-da!
It's a stinky old car.
And it's not even a hover.
Well, this stinky old car is our one-way ticket out of here.
It looks ancient.
Yeah, but with a few repairs, she should be strong enough to make it to Europe.
The European Federation?
Yep. Far enough away that Audrey can't chase us down. I could set up my own mechanic shop in Italy or France. I was actually reading about this town...
You're leaving me?
Not you, kiddo. I just can't handle living with Audrey and Pearl. With them, my life just feels like an endless cycle of abuse and work. You and Aiko are the only two things keeping me going.
So I can come with you? To Europe,
Not right now. You're too young. But you'll always be with me, even when we're far apart. I'll see our late-night walks in the stars and remember our dress-up games when I see silk dresses.
I want you to go. You deserve to be happy. But I'll really miss you.
In a few years, when you're 16 and can emancipate yourself, there will be a room at my place for you. Aiko, you, and me all living in a fancy Parisian apartment together.
Miss you.
Doesn't that sound fun?
You'd probably get grease stains everywhere. But you promise you won't forget about me.
I promise.
I love you, Cinder.
I love you too, Peony.
Okay, so we're still on the hunt for a nag melt, right?
It's a... Peony, can you hold on for a second? Something right near your collar.
Is there a bug? Or a spider?
Hold still.
Is that a rash? From being out here in the junkyard? Ledemosis.